All right, y'all, come on in. I'm your legal bestie, attorney Simone. Thanks so much for joining us on another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? And I have a treat for you. Today on live, we have Milagro Gramz defense team. We have her defense team in the defamation case against Meg the Stallion. And we're going to break this down with a true legal slant. And I cannot wait. Now, we've only got about 20, maybe 30 minutes with them because they're very busy and they're very rich. So they've got so much to handle. But I want to give you guys a quick breakdown. And I've been under the weather. That's why I look ridiculous. And I look like a homeless lady with makeup on, which is fine. But I wanted to make sure you guys get the legal version of things. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. As we are talking about this, here at Girl, Is That Legal? I like to break down cases like I'm talking to my friends who are drunk at brunch. They're drunk, not me. So we do it light and we try to do it with like everyday people speak. But I also want you to keep in mind that as we're breaking down the law doesn't change based on whether or not you like a defendant or a plaintiff. The law is the law is the law. And what we like to talk about and make sure is done in court cases, right, is that the law is followed fairly. So what we're going to start with, I'm going to give you just a quick synopsis of the case, what went down and where we are today. And then I'm going to bring on the legal team. I'm going to look through your questions on the chat. I'll be starring them as we go along. Go ahead, hit that link, hit that like so that they can recommend this to others. Feel free to share it on all of the platforms, Twitter and others. Oh, and don't forget, guys, you can always go to my website, which is SimoneRedwine.com. And you can go there and you can always schedule a consultation with me. I'm going to do a little share. You can get a consultation with me, 30 minutes anywhere in the nation. It starts at just $200. So I would love to help you with your matter. We'll start there. Now, let me pull this down. All right, so here's the quick synopsis on the case. And I don't care if you think you know the synopsis. Hang with me. It'll be like 2 minutes. All right, ciao. In the case of Meg the Stallion versus Milagro Gramz, y'all, the verdict is in. And the winner is, well, it's not really obvious because this case was particularly unique. See here, Meg the Stallion had a multi-million-dollar legal team. And this legal team was seeking $30 million. They wanted a $30 million verdict for Meg. Now, mind you, her law firm is called Quinn Emanuel. This firm is notorious for charging up to $3,000 an hour per partner. And allegedly, Megan had 15 lawyers on her legal team. That doesn't mean they were all partners, but partners themselves can receive at least $3,000 per hour on some of these cases, depending on the team, right? So keep these numbers in mind as I give you the facts and you decide, in your opinion, who do you think came out on top? So she spent multi-millions in legal fees, plus over $200,000 she claimed in therapy costs. Now, remember, for this case, it can only be therapy related to the words and the things that were alleged by Milagro. Not Tori, not anyone else, Milagro. Now, with all of those numbers, right, we've got the multi-millions likely for her legal fees. We've got the $200,000 that she provided to the court and the jury regarding her therapy. The court and jury only awarded her $59,000. Here's how it came up with that. Now, see, a jury found Milagro liable for intentionally inflicting emotional distress. This was by coordinating with Tory Lanez to harass the hell out of Meg, is what it was found. And also for reposting what's called an AI deep fake corn, with a P, corn tape of Meg by retweeting it basically on her Twitter was the allegation. Now, then there was also this weird and wonky defamation claim. For the defamation claim, it was initially found by the jury that it was defamation when Milagro said, quote, that Meg was a non-credible witness, when she said that Meg could go down, when Milagro said she could go down the list of all the different ish that Meg said that was not true, and quote, when she asked, was Megan the Stallion caught trying to deceive the courts again? Now, As a lawyer, I personally thought that the defamation claims always seemed very stupid because for defamation, you can only be held liable for statements of facts, not your opinions. Opinions are protected by freedom of speech, whether we like them or not. And it seemed that some of these statements they seem like they could arguably be seen as statements that were Milagro expressing her opinion, such as that, that Meg was lying and that was she lying again to the court and that Meg was not credible. I'm gonna get with the legal team because how is it defamation to say this girl is not credible? Hello, that is literally what the jury does. Now, I need you to separate your personal feelings on Milagro from the law. And here's why. We got to make sure the law is protected so that no matter who is being impacted when the law is applied to them, it is done fairly. So we've got those statements, right? And then the jury verdict was in favor of Megan for all of that until the judge threw a wrench in there, baby. The judge came in and the judge actually threw out the defamation verdict and the associated $16,000 that was awarded for defamation. Why? Y'all. Because the judge said that Meg's multi-million-dollar dream team legal team did not follow instructions. The judge said that here she found that Milagro was, as a YouTuber, would be considered the media. Well, under Florida law, if you are media, before you can file a lawsuit against someone, you got to give them notice and the opportunity to pull down or recant those statements. Y'all remember when Christian Gold and Jennifer Gold were trying to sue me? They sent me their little stupid ass notice letter, and I responded and says, direct me to the infringing statements that I made or the accurate statements. And crickets, I never hear from nobody and I didn't get sued. Yes, Christian, I remember you. And Jennifer, I remember you too. Y'all are so stupid. I say that to say it is actually fairly standard that you have to give someone notice before you file defamation because that could prevent the case from even needing to be filed in the first place. So the judge threw out those defamation claims. And it was such a rookie mistake, y'all, because it's like, that would be like you being a landlord filing eviction against your client without giving them an eviction notice, without giving them an eviction notice. It's a rookie mistake. But y'all, this is often what happens when you go and get what you think is a dream team legal team that doesn't practice in your state. This case was held in Florida. That is a Florida law. But a lot, if not the majority of Meg's legal team was from California and practiced California law. That's often how that happens. So this is kind of the basis. This is the crux. But in the end, Meg spent hundreds of thousands, ultimately received a verdict of $59,000. Now, currently, and that 59 was comprised of 9,000 that was towards the intentional infliction of emotional stress, and then 50,000 was related to the reposting of the deep fake AI. Now, the judge has not made any ruling one way or the other as to whether Meg will have to pay, whether Milagro will have to pay Meg's legal fees. However, the judge was saying she's going to wait to make a determination on that till after the appeal. And I think this legal team is definitely appealing. So I'm about to bring them up now. All right, let's get them here on in here now. Hi, guys. So we've got, am I pronouncing it right? Natasha?
Yes.
Natasha Bien-Ami. Hi.
Bien-Ami.
Is that Haitian Creole or French?
Yeah, my last name is French. It means good friend or well-loved. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. All right, and we've also got Lisa. And I can't say your last name. Okay, great. And
yes.
Thank you. And we've got Jeremy McLemont. Thank you so much for joining us, y'all.
Hi, everyone.
All right. For that intro, please help me. Was there anything that I needed to clarify, or feel free to elaborate?
No, I think the intro was good. I mean, it's thorough. So we could get into any questions that are out there about the case and about, what happened and what didn't happen. But the intro was pretty good.
Yeah, I think one of the common questions the audience has been posting and sharing is compared to, so many people are comparing this case to the results of the Tasha K case. And the amounts awarded here were a lot lower. Why do you think the jury was more conservative with the dollar amounts that they did award?
So I don't know how to compare it to what happened in Natasha K case, because I didn't actually watch that trial, so I don't know why
It was
she
a
got
mess.
the verdict. I'm not sure why she got the verdict that she did. I can only speak about what happened, in our case and in our trial. So we did our best to humanize our client, Ms. Cooper, and to explain what it was that actually happened in this case, and also to make it clear that all of the emotional damages that Ms. Pete says that she suffered, that they didn't come about because of Miss Cooper. Like she claimed, that Miss Cooper, and she tried to blame everything on Miss Cooper. Everything was Miss Cooper's fault. She went to therapy because of Miss Cooper. She had emotional distress because of Miss Cooper. Miss Cooper prolonged her PTSD from the gunshot. Everything was Miss Cooper, Miss Cooper, Miss Cooper. But I think the jury saw through that, and that there was no way possible that Miss Cooper, who at the time in 2024 when the lawsuit was filed, had maybe like 27,000 followers on her Instagram account, and was someone pretty much didn't really mean much to Megan Thee Stallion. Miss Cooper wasn't someone in her inside circle. She wasn't someone who she really had a care or about her opinion, about Miss Cooper's opinion. So she made it clear throughout the trial that there were people that she actually had relationships with, that she loved, that either how she felt maybe turned their back on her and did things to her, whether it be Tory Lanez, whether it be her ex-boyfriend Party, or her ex best friend Kelsey, or whatever. All these people did things to her, and she basically told the jurors that she didn't care. She could tune all that out, turn it all off.
Yeah, and that sounds like a lie. Let me break down in like regular speak what we're talking about and what that means. So specifically, when you come in and you say this particular person has intentionally inflicted emotional distress on me, you have to isolate any of the other anguish and sadness that you receive from any and everybody else in your life. Because the jury is allowed to say, well, wait a minute, hold on. You're telling me that this vlogger with 20 some thousand subscribers affected you more than Tory Lanez, the actual person that shot you? I don't think they're believing it. You also have to remember, guys, this is a federal court jury. So it's a federal jury in the Miami area. So that also pulls from the suburbs, and it pulls like all type of people. So it's not necessarily diverse Democratic leaning. In fact, you got a lot of those, those white Mexicans, some white people that think they're Mexican. No, the Mexicans that think they're white. You got a lot of those kind of people. Sorry, I'm saying this. I'm not putting that on other lawyers. This is my view. So you've got, what happens is it can lean more conservative. And what conservative jurors don't like is if they feel like someone is coming up there to game the system for money. They feel like we got it with our bootstraps. So you shouldn't be able to come in here asking for $30 million, blaming this, small time blogger, asking, and you're this multimillionaire. Do you feel like, or did you try to work, was a part of the theme at all anything related to like, almost like Megan the Machine versus the little guy? Yeah. Can you elaborate on that and how it seems like with the jury awarding only 59,000, that seemed to resonate with them? What were your thoughts?
If someone else wants to answer it, you can, or not, or if not, I'll answer it. Just let me know.
Yes, I mean, to answer your question, I think it's reflected in the numbers, right? I think that we're not even talking about a fraction of the numbers that they were asking for. And then as far as the big guy versus the little guy, I mean, literally how I even came on, me and Jeremy were having a discussion about, this case. And I literally just had the time and availability to just be able to come in when I did. These are my former colleagues, Natasha and Jeremy, from the Miami-Dade Public Defender's Office. And it literally was a conversation about, what our cases were looking like. And this came about. And I said, absolutely. Oh, no. How many attorneys do they have? I'm coming down there. I'm going to ride with y'all. And we're going to try this case together. So literally from the inception, as far as how I came into this case, that was very present as far as even how we formed this team. And that theme was ever present, and we understood that, but we were fearless, and we just took each moment, each stage at a time, and we're dealt the cards we were dealt. Again, Jeremy came in lawyers later after many motions were either not filed or decided not in our favor. And me personally, as an attorney, I like to come in, working my summary judgment motions, exhausting all of these things, making these motions for dismissal that should have been filed previously that were not. And we're coming in with those decisions already made or not made and having to work with what we have.
Yeah, because when it comes to summary judgment, y'all, that is the motion that you filed telling the judge, this don't even need to go to a jury, because these issues here are issues they're issues of law for the judge to determine. And judge, if you look at these facts, even if we assume that what the other side's saying is true, if you look at the facts, we still win. And so here, I have to say, I don't see how, obviously, I'm on in part a procedural flaw. The judge dismissed the defamation, but I don't see how the 3 statements at issue were defamation in the first damn place. So I want to address those 3 statements just for the audience so they know. I'll repeat them. I'm going to repeat them verbatim, okay? This is not me putting my sauce on it, but this was very stupid, y'all. Listen to this. The first statement that was allegedly defamation was Milagro said that Megan was, quote, a non-credible witness. Jeremy, help me.
Yeah, I mean, so I argued all this in closing argument, right? And everyone who was in the audience who saw it and went back and had anything to say about the closing arguments, I think they were accurate when they said that our closing argument was better than the other side, because the defamation count itself and the allegations for what the defamatory statements were complete, in my opinion, BS.
Yes, absolutely.
And that statement that you're referring to, that there were non-credible witnesses in Tory Lanez trial, at first they tried to make that statement only about Megan, that Ms. Cooper was just talking about Megan, Ms. P, in that tweet that she put out that said that there were uncredible witnesses in the or incredible witnesses at the trial. And it wasn't just about Megan, right? And Megan's credibility, as I explained to the jury, was shot before it even got to the trial. Mm-hmm. Because she had said in the media and to the police that she had stepped on glass, and that she had other things that she wasn't forthcoming with in the beginning. So her credibility was shot from the beginning. So for somebody to say that I didn't think that Ms. Pete was credible, or I didn't think that other witnesses were credible, that's their opinion, for one, and for two, it's right. The truth. Right.
And under the law, y'all, your opinion can never be the basis for defamation, because then there would be no freedom of speech. And I also want to make clear that for the defamation claims, each sentence has to be judged by the jury individually. So, for example, the jury has to say, is her saying Megan was a non-credible witness? Is that defamatory? Yes or no? Then you go to the second. And I would say on appeal, there's no appeals court that's going to find the statement Megan was non-credible to be a defamatory statement. I don't see how that could be. The reason being is, don't they do that on the Law and Crime Network every day? Nancy Grace hollering, she's not credible. She's not credible. That's what Nancy Grace does all day. Like, we couldn't have court shows where you literally give your opinion after watching testimony if that were actually a defamatory statement. And then the second one was the second statement Milagro said that was at issue, was she said, oh, I could go down the list of all the different ish. That was not true. That statement to me was wild, because we don't even know what she's referring to, what ish. And therefore, how do we know if it was true or wasn't true? In other words, that sounds like a statement any vlogger could make when giving their opinion on a case, and is not specific to, defamation.
Right. If I could just speak to that, I mean, this was the first time in my life, let alone my career, that I saw attorneys try to impeach a witness with a verdict form from another case. They literally introduced the conviction in the murder case and tried to say how the jurors found that it was true that he shot Megan. as a form of impeachment and to, challenge her credibility, as far as saying what she said was not true. I thought that was odd, and they did it, and so that's where we're at. But
can we clarify that? Because so many people are saying that Milagro testified that she knew he, in fact, shot Megan. But it sounds like what you're saying is that instead it was a matter of confirm that the jury found he shot Megan. Is that what really happened? That she testified that, yes, the jury found that happened, but I'm not saying I agree with the jury.
Correct. That what you said at the end was correct. Go ahead, Natasha.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. This is why y'all come to the channel, y'all. Keep going. I'm gonna fix my light.
So what Milagro testified to is that Miss Pete was shot. She did not say that Tory Lanez shot Miss Pete, and she, held and stand her ground on that. She always questioned the investigation process. It was a botched investigation and how it happened. Not necessarily that it happened, but how it happened, because there was just so many inconsistencies with, her statements, other witnesses' statements, during Jeremy's cross of Megan. He kept impeaching her on different things that she lied about. So Milagro only stated that she believed Miss Pete was shot, but never specifically said that it was Tory Lanez.
Got you. Okay, that was my understanding too. Now, Baby Doll's mom is asking attorneys, do you guys think that the judge will award the total amount of the attorney's fees? She said, because she doesn't think that the judge will do that.
So anytime that attorneys ask for attorney's fees, right, there's always the reasonable aspect of it. You gotta have, it's a reasonable attorney's fees and costs. And so having 10 or so lawyers on your side, and remember, the attorney's fees provision is for the deepfake statute, that claim, right? So
just that one, not the others. Yeah.
Right, just that one. So does it take 10 lawyers charging or billing at $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 an hour, right, for the amount of hours that they billed to get you the result that you got, right? And they're gonna, I'm sure that the judge is gonna cut down some of the hours that they bill, that they're going to maybe cut down the rate that they bill at, right? Because at the end of the day, there's so many arguments to make about expertise and whatnot. This is a brand new statute. If this was a niche area, you could say, I have 10, 15 years of experience in this, and that's why I'm billing at this rate, because it's, something that it requires me to bill at that rate. But like, this is a brand new statute. It was enacted
literally
ago, January 2024. So like, you can't even really make that argument. The only argument you could make is that, we have so much trial experience that, it was necessary for us to bill it.
And then with that argument, okay, well, you got all this trial experience. Why it took 15 of y'all, and y'all didn't even serve the notice letter. So somebody's sleeping on the job over here, okay?
Right. So there's so many arguments to make, right? So many arguments to make when it comes to what reasonable attorney's fees are, right? And so the attorney's fees argument is there. It'll be had. It'll be a battle that we have in court. But right now, we're worried about the verdict and the final judgment, and we can worry about attorney's fees another day.
I do want to make one more comment just related to attorney's fees, and then we'll move on, which is that what I also find is interesting is it is my understanding. So I have multiple clients in the industry. I was raised with family in the industry. It's my understanding that the legal fees were actually paid by her label, or at least fronted by certain corporate entities on her behalf. That's very interesting to me, because when, let's say, Rock Nation or your label, let's say your label already has a retainer agreement with Quinn Emanuel, and then all of their artists use Quinn Emanuel whenever they have cases, then that's not the same as you digging in your pocket and saying, here's some money, I'm going to second mortgage my house for this case, blah, blah, blah. And I think it certainly would call into question the reasonableness of certain fees, because if there's an unending spout to run it up, you're going to run it up. That's just my final thoughts as a lawyer. Moving forward, I know y'all can't comment on that. Moving forward, I wanted to also address the $30 million comment. I had read somewhere that not initially, but that her legal team was asking for 30. But some in the comments have said her legal team never asked for a specific dollar amount. Could y'all clarify?
That they never asked for a particular dollar amount. So again, I don't know that there's a dollar amount in their complaint. We all got on the case very, very late. So any negotiations or settlement discussions, we weren't a part of.
Okay.
What I could tell you is that the amount of money that was asked for, I think in a previous mediation, was tens of millions or something of that nature. But the actual dollar amount is not something that was conveyed to us, any three of us here on this call.
Gotcha. All right. And one other topic. So on my channel, y'all know over here, I got a big mouth. And I mentioned to the attorneys on the line here that I love defamation cases because I have sued people and been sued for defamation. I used to work for this stupid ass bitch. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not supposed to say it anymore. But he sued me for defamation because I called him a crackhead. And he was a crackhead, but he was like, it wasn't crack. It was cocaine. And so literally we went back and forth on the fact that he was smoking coke. He was sniffing coke up boys' butts and not smoking crack. Whoop-de-doo. So I said that to say I've had to learn and know so much about it. That one thing that I learned years ago is I keep some defamation insurance. Okay. I do not play about defamation insurance. And I think the three of you guys, after this great job that you've done, y'all just need to send a little solicitation to State Farm and everybody else and be like, y'all need to put me on retainer, because I want to let the audience know, if you are a blogger, you're an influencer, y'all, you can't afford to not have it. It's only about $20 a month. If you have renter's insurance, most places that you rent from, or even homeowners, you can ask to add on renters and defamation insurance. And in this situation, if you were Milagro, it would kick in where they would pay these brilliant ladies and gentlemen that are on the line. You would simply pay your deductible in the same way as if you were in a car accident. You pay your deductible, and then the lawyers and the adjusters kick in, and you don't even have to pay the judgment. So I just want to encourage viewers out there to do that. And were you familiar with defamation insurance and how it worked?
I wasn't. You're going to put a battery in Miss Cooper's
back.
I
got you. I had my little notes. I was like, I'm going to tell Jeremy this, and this. So I'm meeting you two ladies here for the first time, but I know just some of Jeremy's mentors. And I was like, oh, this is literally all day, every day. And the beauty of...
Do you see... I'm sorry.
No,
do you see Milagro in the waiting room?
Oh, you know what? Let me scroll down. No, I don't.
I just want to make sure she's a part of the conversation.
We would love to have her. Yes. Yeah. Tell her I'm looking for her. Yeah.
I'll make sure she jumps on. You see her?
Not yet.
All right, I'll make sure she jumps on. Go ahead. Sorry, you can go.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. So even if you just have a hair salon or any of that, get y'all some defamation insurance, because you could be talking about a former coworker, you could be talking about a competitor, and you just don't want that. Mm-hmm. So that's how come when all the stupid ass Christian Gold and Jennifer Williams are like, we're suing you for defamation, I was like, well, you're gonna have to talk to State Farm about that. Go for it. You don't want the problem, because then they're going to file an anti-slap motion. Y'all, that's the motion where when I win, they have to pay my legal fees, and we're going to go to town on that behind, okay? Meanwhile, he's sitting in a jail cell with some pencils because they can't even trust him with a pen, trying to write the bar and tell him to take my license because I done defamed him. I called you a jailbird, and you're a jailbird. That's that. All right, hold on. We had a few more that I highlighted. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Move this in here. All right. So DJ Torch made a comment. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. I wasn't ignoring you before. I just didn't want to interrupt as the attorneys were speaking. You said Milagro was clearly in the wrong and knew that the deep fake was a deep fake. Her lawyers rocked the house, and that's why Gramz doesn't own her life. I'm not sure what that means. Megan just wanted the judgment. So with the deep fake, number one, I want to mention when this case first started, I was like, why the hell is this in Florida? Because Meg is a citizen of Houston, Texas. Milagro is Houston, Texas, and I'm Houston, Texas. So I wanted to be able to go up the street to the courthouse up there. But the reason that it was filed in Florida is because Florida had just passed this deep fake law. And one of the interesting facts related to that claim, the deepfake, is that part of what Milagro testified, and feel free to correct me if I'm incorrect, was that she didn't repost it herself. She said, check out my likes. Oh, here we go. I don't know. Welcome. I'm going to let you speak for yourself. How you doing, Milagro? Good. Oh, I think you're on mute. I'm going to let you, let's see. I'll unmute you. Oh, you have to unmute it on your side. There you go. Because you missed the segment before. I was just talking about defamation insurance. That needs to be your new, Milagro, if you can hear me, that needs to be one of your new sponsors. You just go ahead and get you're going to be like, what is it, Jake from State Farm? But you can be that for defamation insurance. Get you an affiliate link and you can make all kinds of money. Let's see. So okay, on your side, you'll need to just hit that unmute. Because on my side, you're good to go. And if you want, you might want to hit refresh if you're having a challenge with that too. Because I heard you when you first came in. Let's see, let's pull this down.
She's going to come back in.
Okay, great. Okay. Lauren, thank you so much for this super chat. Lauren says $59,000 is a car note. The jury awarded Meg a Toyota for wasting their time. It is a car note. It is a car note. It is a car note. I also want to clarify for the audience, this is very different. Like, I'm not going to speak to bankruptcy law and to what extent, if needed, bankruptcy could protect. Oh, here we go. I think we have her now. Let me add you. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can. Hey.
Welcome. So we have been talking about your amazing legal team. Can you start with how they even came about? What a blessing.
Yeah, what a blessing. A previous lawyer that I had was able to contact Jeremy, and he decided to join the case. And then he has worked with these wonderful women before, and so he brought them on board. And I think that it was something that just worked out so well. They're like a dream team.
Fantastic. Have you ever received even a cease and desist letter prior to this experience?
Yes, I have.
Okay. In those prior experiences, like, did you cease? Did you desist? How did you handle it in those cases? And then tell us a little bit about how this was ultimately got as far as it did. Because I get cease and desist all the time because I say what I want to. Go ahead.
I don't even get a lot of cease and desist, but I have gotten, I would say less than 5 over the many years that I've even been doing this. And when someone has come to me with an issue, there have been celebrities who have come to me and they didn't do a formal cease and desist. They just hit me up directly and we were able to speak. So I have absolutely taken the time to recognize them as human beings, to address what their concerns were. And it did not make it to a courtroom because what's more important to me is the person, not trying to exploit them or have a moment. So I've removed whatever it was in a situation that they felt like they did not like, did not agree with, it was incorrect, whatever the case may be. And when it comes to this situation, in terms of how it got this far, I think it got this far because there's a situation where someone felt like, you know, I'm big, you're small, and I don't have to respect you in this space. So I don't have to follow the proper protocol. So a cease and desist was not given. It was sent directly to the courts, you know, and it turned into this bigger, you know, situation. But had that been sent, we definitely would have had a different outcome because it was no goal of mine to ever do something that was harming her in her day-to-day life, if that makes sense.
And I want to clarify for the audience. So what we're referring to is the reason why the defamation charges and the money associated with that were dismissed is because under Florida law, where this was tried, you have to give someone at least 5 days notice that they have defamed you and the opportunity to remove that statement before you file a lawsuit. But here's also what's wacky. Milagro is a citizen of Texas. Meg's a citizen of Texas. That is even the law of Texas. Because I mentioned how Christian Gold and Jennifer Gold Williams, Fool's Gold from Basketball Wives, sent me cease and desist. And When they sent me that, I responded and said, I need you to identify each defamatory statement, and I will happily remove them. Of course, they couldn't identify anything because number one, Christian can't read, and number two, nothing was in fact defamatory. So there was that. So I say that to say it's interesting to me that this $1 million legal team missed such an important procedural step that's actually a common step throughout many states, no matter, what type of defamation law you're moving under. But that's what Milagro was referring to when she was like, there were certain missteps. Do you think, though, there were the 3 comments, though, that they claimed that you made that were defamatory? Do you feel that, and I referenced them before, one of them is that you said she wasn't credible. A second one is you said, there's a long list of ish that wasn't true, something along those lines, with the third being, is she basically lying to the court again? Did you feel like those statements were your opinion? Or
I feel
that
like,
you,
first of all, they weren't even statements. Everything, you have 2 out of the 3 that were posed as questions. And then
okay.
you have one statement that was addressing things that I highlighted on the stand. So I definitely feel like those things should be protected as opinions and questions, especially in a space where you have a live audience and you're going back and forth exchanging ideas and trying to further a conversation. So I think that everybody needs to pay attention to that, because that can get really dangerous. I mean, we can't post questions now.
As a vlogger, what would you tell other vloggers to be aware of and concerned about based on this experience that you've been through?
I think that the most important thing would be to invest and legitimize their business. If it's something that, they are truly serious about, then you have to follow the proper steps so that you're not seen as an internet grifter. If you're making money on these different platforms, you're going to have to pour back into yourself so that if someone does take issue with you, you can say, well, I'm here and I at least deserve to be protected to some degree. I think that's
Gotcha.
a big thing.
Also, you're in Houston too, girl. I'm gonna connect you with my insurance agent. I keep defamation insurance, so somebody can play with me.
Oh, thank
So
you so much.
yeah, I'm gonna get you. It's really, I think mine might be an extra $20 a month. Like I couldn't afford to not have it with the mouth I got on me. So I'm going to connect you with that. And because you've already resolved this case should not prevent you from being able to get it in the future. And I really want to encourage all vloggers, all influencers, because it's just something about being able to tell the truth and all the truth. Like for me, if I did not have defamation insurance, so basically there was this guy, Christian Gold, who's scamming a whole bunch of people out of over $500,000. And he came to me and was like, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to take your law license. I'm going to do all those things. If I didn't have the defamation insurance, I might have pulled down some of the videos. But for me, it was about addressing a matter of public concern. And in the end, by doing that, more victims realized, hey, I'm not the only one that was scammed. They got together. They've been working with the feds. And any day now, we should see charges drop. So there's that. Jennifer, you might need to get a job. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. There was another, I had new media networking. Also, the judge found, it's almost like you made law in a sense, because the judge found that you are considered media. Now, for the audience, here's what that means and why it's important. Previously, it was largely like the CNNs, what we call legacy media that were recognized as media under the law. When you are considered media under the law, number one, that is what required Meg's legal team to first give notice before they pursued. But also, the media gets a lot more leeway with respect to when it comes to defamation and the opportunity to cure it. So it's very good for bloggers where they have to quickly put out information. Now, you don't get to go out there and just willy-nilly pull stuff out your butt, right? And just be saying stuff.
Right.
But how do you feel about the judge coming to the legal conclusion that you are media?
I could not have been more ecstatic. That would not have been possible without these amazing lawyers doing what they needed to do to convey that to that jury that was there, because the decision was given to them initially. And so they decided, yes, that I was a media defendant. And then the judge had the final say, and she agreed. And even prior to that final decision, she was speaking in such a way that she was leaning more towards the media defendant side after what it is that these amazing lawyers presented. So I think that's a huge win for all of us that take the time to really, like I said, invest and take our platform seriously. And regardless of how people may feel about me, like you were saying earlier, there is a bigger picture. And I hope that everyone can understand that this is a really significant moment for us.
Yeah, the idea that I can't say so and so is incredible that's utterly ridiculous. But that is a testament to, like, there was a while where you were basically floating unrepresented. Now, was your first lawyer pro bono, or was it like a quasi?
So,
I don't know if you feel like talking about.
Unite the People presented me with a pro bono situation.
Okay.
So they would go and find representation, and they were supposed to be paying. So that's how it started. But once those first couple of lawyers withdrew, it was as standard, as it's supposed to go, where you would pay.
Gotcha.
To your representation.
Yeah, because federal law is a whole different ball game, and then it's 10 times harder when you're dealing with federal court in a state you don't even live in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I despise federal court. Y'all saw me in the courthouse at the Diddy trial daily. I still hate that one security guard with the bald head that looked like with the peanut in him, and I won't forget him. One day I'm gonna see him in the streets of New York. I'm gonna trip him.
What you gonna do?
Oh, is it true Meg was flirting with Jeremy? I think everybody was flirting with Jeremy. I don't know that he noticed. I don't know that he was noticing. How did it go, Jeremy? You look like her type. You do kind of look like Clay.
No, he don't. He is a professional, and he was doing his
he
job.
didn't flirt back.
But he exactly. But they have been looking at him and appreciating his physique and everything. I've been seeing it.
With the physique. All right. Absolutely. We really, really appreciate you guys' time. I am excited to see the next phase. I'm eager to see, of course, what is going to happen with regards to. Now, you guys have stated you are going to appeal, correct? Or are you still determining?
We haven't stated that yet. Yeah, okay. We're still going to explore every option.
Okay. Is there a GoFundMe or anything with respect to legal fees that has been set up? If so,
I did. It's pinned to my page, and it's pinned to my Twitter page, and it just basically centered around new media, the rise of new media.
Okay. I'll drop that in the link in the description below. What's very important to me is I can't stress enough, simply because the judge dismissed the defamation claim on the procedural technicality is not enough. At the end of the day, the 3 statements that were considered defamation should have never been allowed to proceed as defamation in the first place.
So I'll say about that, though, I'll say this. So had we had a final judgment that the defamation claim went through, right, for Ms. Pete, we definitely would be appealing that issue. But we can't appeal because there's no judgment entered for Ms. Pete for defamation, so we can't appeal that. But had it gone the other way, then definitely would have. Because I agree with you from the beginning. I don't see how any court could uphold those statements as being defamatory.
Right. Was there a dismissal motion that was filed by prior counsel on that basis?
There was.
Okay.
There was, and I think that the ruling for the motion to dismiss, it kept in all the counts that were moved for dismissal. All the counts they remained intact after the motion to dismiss. And I thought just from reading the pleadings that the IIED, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and the defamation claims would have been thrown away in the motion to dismiss phase.
Yes, and also I've read that now that the court has found that Milagro is a media defendant, that there's strong argument that intentional infliction of emotional distress isn't appropriate here either, because the media can't do that. And in fact, and I haven't gone down that rabbit hole, but basically you can't say CBS intentionally inflicted blah, blah, blah on me because they have way more. What's it standard? Intentional maliciousness, blah blah blah. And it doesn't seem that the facts as that were given here rose to that. But I understand what you're referencing now with respect to, an appeal for the defamatory statements if they stayed. Certainly, I mean, that you need to do that initially. This judge, was she one of them white ladies Trump appointed?
No, she was way before Trump. This is the chief judge in the Southern District. I think she was appointed by. Oh, I can't remember, but she's been a judge for a while now.
Okay. Because I don't know how Trump does it, but he finds the least educated women he can find. Maybe they're pretty. I don't know. He finds the least educated women he can possibly.
Remember, the rest of us don't have defamation insurance yet.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's what you believe. But okay, I want you guys to each go around. If you could let us know where we can find you. How we can support you, and what states you practice in.
Go ahead.
All right. I'll go first. My name is Natasha Bieneman. My law firm is Bieneman Law Firm. I practice in Florida. And you can reach me at 954-686-2446, extension 101.
Thank you. All right. Lisa?
Yes, I'm Laisa Pertet. I am New York based, and I am also admitted in New York. I'm admitted in Washington, D.C. I'm admitted in Florida, and I'm admitted in the Southern and Eastern districts of New York, federal districts, as well as the Southern and Middle districts of Florida. Look forward to taking clients primarily in New York. My phone number is 347-391-6413.
Fantastic. And Jeremy?
So I'm based in Miami. That's where our main office is at.
I'll be there Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, so you're going to be here Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. Natasha, you got to link up.
Oh, yeah.
Natasha has the whole schedule for Art Basel.
Gotcha, girl.
But yeah, so I'm in Miami. I practice here. I grew up here as a lawyer. So I've been here pretty much since I went to law school and moved down here in 2015. You can find us at asilialaw.com. Asilia is spelled ASILIA law.com. And also we have that same name on Instagram. We have all the other accounts and whatnot, Twitters and TikToks, but Instagram is the one we're most active. So you can find us there.
Awesome. And then Milagro, where can they find you?
Girl, in the unemployment line.
My stomach hurts. I got food poisoning.
No, but you can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Kick. Search Milagro Gramz, MILAGROGRAMZ. On Twitter, it is Milagro Press, MILAGROPRESS. The campaign that I was telling you about is pinned at the top. And then other than that, I do have a blog page on Instagram, New Media, and official MilagroGrams.com. So yeah.
Right. Oh, and DJ Torch Live, thank you so much for this super chat, DJ Torch, as well as anything but the norm. DJ Torch is asking, do any of you guys handle IP law?
I don't.
Okay. No. Okay, gotcha. DJ Torch, if you DM me or if you email me, I have a referral I can get you. Yes. Well, thank you all so much. We really appreciate you helping to elaborate and break this down. Hope you have a great weekend. Y'all drop below any questions you have for the chat. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you for having us.
Bye. Thank y'all.